Wednesday, May 28th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight we changed it up a bit. We talk about Whiteout, the comic, and animals that suck, the anime.
Let's do this. So you know that Watchmen movie they're making?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I haven't been, I don't know, interested to see any movie, especially not in the theater, in forever. But this movie, they have done some things, two things, that have actually raised my interest of seeing in the theater from -1 billion to -999 million.
All right.
Two things that have given me confidence that this movie, well, actually three things, but that have given me confidence. Three things that have given me confidence. The Pope, right. That this movie might not be to suck and will hold itself
so
up.
what are the three things?
Number one, every picture from the movie that I see, every photograph online, pretty much looks like the comic brought to life. I mean, the latest picture I saw was you know how, I don't want to try to spoil anything. You know, in between chapters 1 and 2, there's that sort of, I guess it's an illustration of a photograph of the original old superhero team with the guy in the hood and all the old guys, the whatever they were.
Yes.
There was a photograph released of pretty much people in costumes, making, and it looked exactly like the thing from the comic, only it was, a picture of real people in costumes. I'll show it to you. It's pretty cool. 2, right? I have found, I didn't receive it, a reliable word that this movie will be almost 3 hours long.
Whew. That, it's weird. You'd think, that just means if it's bad, it'll never end.
That's true,
But what it means to me is that they're letting the people making it do what they think is right, because it's very rare for the producers, whoever is involved in the making of a movie, to let someone say, yeah, I'm going to make this movie longer than, the short average movies everyone sees. Because that's a big risk.
Yeah, because that tells me, in order to make this movie done right, you can't be leaving too much shit out. So if they're making it almost 3 hours, we're reaching the limit of what Hollywood's willing to deal with. That tells me that they're leaving all the important shit in. Now, if you've read Watchmen, you know that there's some particular things that might be left out of the movie. Perhaps a story about a black freighter.
So I imagine you've discovered that they have incorporated it 100%.
No, not at all.
All right.
It's, in fact, perhaps better than that. There's also, the prose parts in between the actual chapters of comic, right?
All right, wait, how could it be better than that?
All right, so there's 3 hours of movie, and there are 2 obvious parts of the graphic novel that would be cut out of any movie.
Are there intermissions?
No. That would be awesome, though. That would be wicked if there were just an intermission for every single chapter, like a little tiny one. Anyway, no. What they're going to do is they have filmed, right, the Black Freighter, and they have somehow filmed the prose parts, right? Those parts are going to be released on a DVD that you'll watch and then go to the movie, or go to the movie and then watch the DVD.
Really?
Yeah, so there's 3 hours of movie, but that stuff is also there, but that's not part of those 3 hours.
Man, luckily living in New York, I'm sure there's going to be a theater where we can see the Black Freighter and then the Watchmen.
Maybe. But if not,
granted, honestly,
we'll easily get the DVD.
I almost feel like you'd probably be better off seeing the Freighter after the Watchmen.
Yeah, it doesn't really, for us, it doesn't matter what order, because we've read the book.
Oh, yeah, but I'm thinking in general, after seems better than before.
Yeah. The thing that still, I'm going to keep pushing people to read The Watchmen before this movie comes out. Read it before the movie read it again.
Yes, even though it's not in the book club.
Yes, it will be. Read it. And then, I'm still worried, though, that, if I owned a comic book store or even a bookstore, I would team up with the local movie theater to fucking sell the book. I don't think there's going to be enough book selling going on. When V for Vendetta came out, they were selling the book, more than usual.
You know what I would do?
But not nearly enough.
You know what I would do? I would set up a promotion where if I were a movie theater, I'd make a deal with a local bookseller, even just do it myself with Amazon, where I would sell the book at a slight discount if you brought a ticket, like a stub, to my place. And I'd even sell the books in the theater as people walked out.
They do need to sell the book in the theater. That's definite. What I think they should do is if you buy the book, right, you get like a pass that will, like, one of the big, maybe not, the local movie theater on the local level, but like on the big level, maybe like, I don't know, pick a movie theater chain. Crown is a movie theater chain, right?
I don't even know anymore. AMC, I guess.
All right, so AMC is definitely a theater chain. Lowe's is a good one too. One of those big movie theater chain companies makes a deal with DC Comics, and because they're reprinting this as we speak, right, to put more on the shelves. Right, it's never been out of print because as soon as it goes out of print, Alan Moore gets the rights back. So, and then DC's in deep shit. So it's definitely still in print. So what they should start doing is the next batch, the next run, they should slip a coupon in there, maybe for free tickets or half off tickets at a specific theater chain. Do a little big time partnership action going on. I don't know. They definitely need to do something to get people to buy the book. Buy the book, read it. Amazon, cheap.
Right. So I don't really have a news because we're going to get right into this. We're doing a dual review tonight, partly because we want to get through this stuff and partly because a lot more you are anime fans than comic fans. So we're very pointedly putting the comic review first. Plus, I think a lot of people who are into anime will probably like this comic.
Maybe.
Well, at least if you're into good manga. But before we continue, I just want to point out to everyone, I know I mentioned it last week, but Friday, this week.
As in, this is the Wednesday episode, so 2 days from now, but
Friday,
you're probably listening to this Thursday, so that means tomorrow.
May 30th at 6 p.m. in the
2008.
in the Kinokuniya bookstore near Bryant Park in New York City. We will be there with Tokyo FM and Brian Nishi to interview HALCALI. They performed at ASEN. They're pretty awesome. You might notice that. You might know them from my thing of the day if you're a time traveler.
Yeah, and if you want to learn about them, you can learn about them the same way I learned about them and watch all their music videos on the YouTube.
Or just come to the Kinokuniya this Friday, May 30th, despite the fact that Anime News Network knows nothing about it.
They will soon, I hope.
Seriously, though, if you're a fan of these two, you'll be able to get pretty close to them because the Kinokuniya is not that big, and TMR pretty much filled the upstairs.
Yeah, you'll also get to see us if you want to see us and you haven't seen us. So, yeah, I guess some people might want to see us. Okay, so we went to the New York Comic Con, and at the Oni table, there were some pretty awesome books going down. Rim bought you bought a Scott Pilgrim poster there?
I might have.
Yeah. But the thing is, I was going to buy some of those awesome books, but I had pre-ordered them online. So about a week later, they showed up. One of those awesome books is Whiteout, written by Greg Rucka, art by Steve Lieber. All right? And there's actually 2 volumes of it, but Rim only read the first volume, so we're mostly going to talk about the first volume. Now, Greg Rucka, this guy he's like my favorite new writing of comics guy. Favorite new comics writer. He's not new, but he's like my new favorite comics writer, as in I discovered him somewhat recently. He wrote that Gotham Central, which is all about the police in Gotham City, and not so much Batman, but mostly the police who are there. He wrote Queen and Country, which is a multi-volume series of awesome British secret agent, international CIA kind of action. And he wrote Whiteout, which is what we're going to talk about here.
Now, before we go any further, if you just want the soundbite review, it's a comic that I liked.
Oh, no. Grim likes it.
I mean, it's really always the best recommendation you can get about something, oftentimes, is from someone who hates that thing. Of course, that doesn't always work, because if someone really hates superhero comics, and then they read a superhero comic that they like, odds are it's not like superhero comics. So if you like normal superhero comics, you probably won't like the things that they like.
Mm. But anyway, Whiteout, to sum it up, it's basically a whodunit murder mystery kind of deal, right? So there's not, if you look at it, from such a zoomed out perspective, it's not really exciting. What is exciting about it, and I think the best part of this book, is the fact that it's in Antarctica. Now, the setting of Antarctica, and I guess it's a cool setting that's not used too often, especially not for murder mysteries.
Well, it's not like many people are there. It's not like it's a very...
But what gets me about this book and actually makes me really interested in Antarctica, and I kind of want to go there now, is that since the setting of Antarctica, it's such a dangerous, barren place with no people, the setting almost becomes a character in this book. Basically a character that's out to fuck everyone all the time.
You know, actually, it's very interesting because I might have said it with somewhat more eloquence than that, but much like if you read The Terror, the book, I think I talked about it a while ago. It's about a bunch of Arctic explorers who eventually get trapped in the ice, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say that they pretty much all die because it's based on a true story, and in the true story, everyone pretty much all died.
Well, I mean, but there's a lot of similar stories that I've, stories that use the same mechanism. Like you read a submarine story, and there's always that constant dread of the dangers of what it's like on a submarine. Or you read like Tank Police. You read Tank Police, and it's like the constant dangers of, the cloud of bacterial gas outside. Or, people are in space. Apollo 13 is a perfect example where, space and the shuttle are a character in themselves, providing all of the conflict for the characters, taking the role of, the villain, what you will. But this book actually has, a villain, and that is, the murderer and whatnot. But it also has the sort of side villain of Antarctica itself. It's not so much a villain because it fucks the bad guys just as much as it fucks the good guys. Anyway, so Whiteout. The story centers around this character, the main character, and she's sort of like this secret. She's not a secret agent. She's like, it's hard to say. She's like a marshal from the U.S. And she's sort of like the police of Antarctica, where no guns are allowed.
Now, there's an interesting story about why she's working in Antarctica that's, I guess, revealed throughout the course of the plot.
Yeah, that's her, her personal backstory deal. But it's kind of the fact that no guns are allowed, yet she has to police Antarctica, at least, police Antarctica as far as U.S. interests are concerned. It's so funny because they keep pointing out, all the things that, the treaties surrounding Antarctica say you have to do, and then everyone breaks all the rules all the time.
Well, not everyone.
No, not everyone. But
pretty much just...
just bad guys and some good guys.
But it's interesting because, there's a police officer, and they don't say, I mean... If you don't know about Antarctica, you wouldn't think like, yeah, duh, no guns. But they don't really say it outright. So right away, at least, you're reading and you think cop, whatever. And then suddenly it's like, but you think, all right, she's a cop. Here's the situation. She'll just pull a gun and everything. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no guns. Right.
Yeah, that sort of still ties into the Antarctica as a character because not just, the weather and physicalness of the continent are dangerous to the characters, but the laws and treaties surrounding this international land also bring conflict.
The thing is, though, isn't it almost a cop out to say the setting is a character when really it's just a setting?
It is, but it's a very strong setting that plays heavily. It
is, but I guess it's a comic and it's mostly dialogue and poses and such, and it's drawn black and white, so. I don't know if while the setting is very strong, I don't know if it has quite as much characterization or any of those things that I'd see in, say, The Terror.
No, maybe not. But it's still pretty there. Another thing that I really, really like, I think I like more about this comic than anything else, is Greg Rucka obviously did a shit ton of research about Antarctica. Like, holy crap, did he learn, like, everything there is to know. Like about, the weather, where all the bases are, how people transport around, what countries have, positions where, what the laws are.
At the same token, a lot of that you can get just from reading Wikipedia.
Yeah, but I mean, he actually bothered to do the research, and he puts all this information, and especially interesting tidbits of the information in the book.
Well, that is one thing that's very good about it, in that a lot of the information is just part of the story and it just makes sense and it's presented in a kind of sensical sequitur way in the story. It's not just like, well, blah, 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 here's a map, blah, blah, blah. Yep. It's just, well, they're going to this base. Oh, are they going to this base? And the distances and what's going on makes sense in that context.
Yep. But I mean, he's telling you a fictional story about fictional characters, but the information he gives you about the setting that they're in is information that is true about the same setting in the real world. So you can be entertained by a fictional story and learn about Antarctica at the same time. And whenever you learn about something, get interested in it. And now I'm interested about Antarctica.
I don't think you actually want to go to Antarctica.
I do on the one hand, but on the other hand, I don't.
Now, I mean, I think part of the reason I like this was that it was a self-contained story start to finish, and while there's kind of background information and all this, it all kind of plays in and comes full circle. There's no loose ends, nothing's left hanging. It's just a solid police, a little bit procedural kind of adventure-y story. That's really all there is to it. Stylistically, I mean, it's really simple. Well, it appears very simple. I mean, it's just black and white and different textures and all that, but when you read the back and he explains, how he drew it and put it together, a lot of work actually went into the composition and the drawing, and he'd like put ink and different things and then scratch it away and do different kinds of art and all the different scenes.
Well, I mean, think about it, right? Antarctica is like the perfect setting for a black and white comic book because instead of, in say a color comic, you might need to draw the snow or some such. Here, the pages are white. So drawing snow means not drawing.
Yes, because then usually when I print colored comics, I print them on black paper.
No, sometimes they do actually. It's you'll read like a comic and like all the pages like black around the edges.
That's ink on paper. It's
I
not
know.
black paper.
Well, but I mean sometimes the pages aren't perfectly white either. They're sort of yellowish. Anyway,
There's no black paper. There's construction paper.
construction paper's cool. I like construction paper. But anyway. Yeah, I like the art a lot. Actually, it's not very cartoony. It's very sort of realistic and
Well, I
such.
think one thing I noticed, I was reading it and about halfway through, I said, "Wait a minute." So I went over and I pulled out Sanctuary and I flipped open through a few pages and I flipped through this, and the way it definitely does not have the Gekiga face or the Gekiga pose or any of that, but or especially there's no Gekiga hero.
No.
But one thing that it does have is if you look at the way characters stand and the way like all the different frames are kind of put together, they look very similar in terms of it's very cinematic and very kind of dramatized the way characters stand and the way they move.
Mm-hmm.
To where I guess if you just took the faces of characters from Sanctuary and put them on these characters, it would work pretty well.
I definitely think that will work pretty well. Also, I noticed a lot of the paneling, he definitely mixes it up. It's like somewhere between it, it's not quite the typical Marvel Comics kind of boring paneling, but it's not quite the out of control manga paneling. It's like this nice in between where some pages will just have a box of 9 rectangles. But other pages will do sort of more of a Will Eisner sort of open panel on the bottom with 3 overlaying it, and he mixes it up. It's pretty cool. I like that action.
Actually, I think the best part about it was that the story escalates really quickly, and it goes faster than you'd expect. I mean, it starts and you read a typical story and it's all right, here we go. There's going to be this up. Now there's going to be the build up to that, and then there's going to be the action later, but it steps it up right away, and then it steps it up again right away, and you get right into the thick of it, and then it's done.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of figured out. It's one of those ones where you can figure out, the whodunit, sort of like 3/4.
Oh, it's obvious right away what's going on. At least everything but the twist. How are they gonna get away with it at the end?
Yeah, I mean. It's sort of like I figured most of it out about 3/4 of the way through, but then a couple pages before, the real ending, I figured that out. So it was like, there was a second thing that sort of, catches you.
There's really only one problem with this comic. It's a very central plot element, and it's not as bad as the newest, well, not the newest, but the second newest Batman movie, where microwaves kill everybody in the city. Or wait, no, they just make steam. But in this comic, the MacGuffin, as it were, is ludicrously just dumb. It's the dumbest thing.
Yeah, I'm glad, though, that it doesn't play the MacGuffin itself, even though it's there, the MacGuffin, it doesn't play that much of a role. It's only discussed a little bit and then a little bit at the end, and mostly
they could have made a better MacGuffin. I think
they definitely could have made a better MacGuffin, but it was mostly about the characters and who was killed all these people and such, as opposed to why. The why was sort of just there because they needed a reason for the killings to happen.
But let's talk about the characters a little bit, because there's really 3 kind of main primary characters. There's the main character, the cop, and I like her because she's very non-stereotypical.
Yeah. Oh, her name's Carrie. All right. She's a U.S. Marshal. Okay.
And then there's the other girl who she works with.
She's like the secret agent from the U.K.
What? I believe you mean Albion.
Right. Right.
And then there's the doctor, who is one of those, like, he's the salty sea dog of the South Arctic, and he's like the best friend in the Arctic of the main character, and he's just like this cool doctor guy. And the three of them are pretty much the characters. And everyone else is either villain or side character.
Yep, pretty much. Okay, so there is a second volume of Whiteout, and sort of what it is Greg Rucka and Steve Lieber said, hey, we actually have an opportunity to work together again. Whiteout was awesome. Can we do it again? Oh my God, we can do it again. And basically what they do is they don't tell, a murder mystery story. They tell a different kind of story, much in the same fashion, but also in Antarctica.
I know that you're not saying what kind of story. Is that kind of a spoiler? Is it something where you really have to read it to see?
Because I forget. But
Good God.
Yeah. I'm not that good at remembering, things like that, especially in 2 seconds. But
didn't you just read it? How do you read a comic and then not remember? That's like saying, yeah, I read this comic called Superman. What's it about? Fuck if I know.
I read it like a couple weeks ago. My brain's sort of not doing so well lately. But anyway, it's basically, it's just, if you liked Whiteout, you'll probably like Whiteout 2. But for some reason, like when I read it, it just felt like slightly less enjoyable than Whiteout 1, but I don't really, I couldn't really put my finger on exactly why. Maybe it's because I already, knew the characters and sort of, I was comfortable in the setting more so it was less exciting and new and fresh. And maybe,
well, it seems like, the first comic, Whiteout, was really good, and I think part of the reason it was good is that it ended, and it was a solid story from start to finish, and there was a lot there. And especially with kind of the last few panels and the little subtle things. I really like the last 2 pages. But it's felt like it's one of those things where it's a setup, it could keep going, but I feel like it really would be better off if it just didn't keep going, if it just was this one story. Because otherwise, they'd either run out of stuff, or they'd have to go in a completely different direction with it right away, or it'd get old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically what they do is they just tell another self-contained story in Antarctica. Now, you could actually probably read the second volume before you read the first one, but it sort of makes some assumptions that you know about the characters a little bit.
It assumes that you know it's cold.
Yeah, well, they all assume you know it's cold. So yeah, Whiteout is definitely a high-quality comic. I'm definitely putting Greg Rucka on my automatic buying list for anything that has his name on it. It's from Oni. Those are the people who published the Scott Pilgrim. And this volume is $14, but I can't imagine it's going to be $14 in Amazon. It's got to be less than that, right?
So, things of the day. What I have here is, it's one thing to say, all right, here's something crazy. Here's something just wacky and out there, because it's the days of the internet and YouTube where if you want to see something weird, there is enough weird stuff out there to keep you sated. But every now and then, something kind of goes beyond just a little bit. Now, we're talking to HALCALI on Friday, but of all their music videos, you should probably see this one, because you think, oh, it's just going to be weird and zany, right? It's really weird.
Is this a Twinkle Star one?
Yes, Twinkle Star.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of their music videos, but this song of all their songs that I listen to is like stuck in my head, like do 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 do.
I don't know. I really like Ongaku no Susume.
I don't think I listened to that one.
No, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, but the Twinkle Star song is totally in my head, and the music video is totally wacky. And
wacky doesn't quite do it. I think the moment I lost is when that cow comes in.
The cow.
Just the slow.
Also, the fox. The fox turning into a cat, and the gorilla with the boombox.
The fact that despite all the craziness, you kind of get used to it. And then there's the cow slow pan. And it's one thing to just put a cow in a music video. It's another thing to put a slow pan of a cow in a music video.
Yeah, it is. You should watch at least this, and then.
Thank you, Japan.
Maybe you'll decide if you like these people or not.
I'll probably link to the other music video too, because I actually like that one in a non-ironic way.
Yeah. Oh, I actually do like the song, but
I like the song.
The music video is just wacky.
Of course, all the music videos are a little wacky, at least.
Yeah, I gotta ask them why their music videos are
I think that's
wacky.
the first question I'm going to ask them.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I had a hard time finding a thing of the day, but check this out. I found this webcomic, right? And it seems like he's about to do like a whole bunch of strips that are related, right? And this is like the strip that's starting off this little storyline. And the story is, right, all of the public domain characters that Disney has used over time, such as Snow White, the Hunchback, the Little Mermaid, etc., right, are all hanging out in like public domain forest or whatever. And they're going to the Mickey's castle to get Mickey to join them because his copyright is up, but it's not because the law extended it. It's pretty funny.
Uh-huh.
And I want to see where he goes with this. And I think it's going to be good stuff because he's got the nice copyright commentary, but he's also got the nice, jokes about all these characters. It's good stuff.
All right.
Nice simple thing of the day.
So it's rare that we find an anime that is new, or not new-ish at least, that we both immediately like.
Well,
And-
it helps that, it's not. It's one of those shows where all the episodes are like 5 minutes long, so our attention spans, we can actually watch almost
Wow.
all of it.
So basically, our anime tastes are getting to the point to where we're basically children.
Well, I mean, there's a whole genre. I don't know if the U.S. doesn't really have an equivalent for this, but there's a whole genre of anime. I don't even know if it's a genre, but a whole set of anime shows where the episodes are really short. Like Risky Safety, all the episodes are really short. Ipatsuki Musume, all the episodes are like 5 minutes long.
Well, I think we've talked about that show.
Yeah, but I don't know when these things air in Japan, but I imagine they must have some like television spot that like these things can go in. Whereas in America, if you want to see like a short cartoon thing like that, you'll find it maybe as like part of a Sesame Street or something like that, or think like what Itchy and Scratchy would be if it was, real, or if there was actually like a Bozo the Clown and he showed you like one Tom and Jerry cartoon. But
Don't bring up Bozo the Clown. He was a frightening human being.
it was. But even like one Tom and Jerry cartoon is almost longer than one of these,
I mean,
episodes.
case in point, I remember a day back in the anime club at RIT where we chose to marathon Risky Safety. And the thing is, there was always this debate, and if you've ever been in an anime club, you always have these debates, sub or dub, robots or shoujo, all the different, but one of them was always, do you show the opener and closer to an anime every episode?
Yeah, if you're going to show the anime club, right, 4 episodes of Trigun, right, you get the opener and closer are pretty cool. They're good openers and closers. I'm not going to deny. And you should definitely show the opener at least once and the closer at least once. But should you skip them in between the episodes?
Now, you might think this is just a simple argument,
Or
but
should you watch the opener 4 times and the closer 4 times?
fan subbers would cater to this, to where if you're watching fan subs, like any good fan sub, the first time you watch the opener, you get the translation subtitles. The second episode has the Romanji subtitles. The third episode will have oftentimes either no subtitles, the clean opener, or they'll have just the Japanese subtitles. And then if they do that, the fourth one will have the clean opener.
Yeah, a lot of them will like alternate or, between the 2 or 3 different, kinds of subtitles. Some of them will put like one at the top, one at the bottom and karaoke it. But, it's this big debate. And what we tended to do is for watching 4 episodes of a new show, we would, show all the openers and closers.
Now,
Why
it
not?
actually worked really well because it gave you a 3-minute kind of intermission between each episode where people would talk or run out and get a drink or go to the bathroom.
And also some shows, mixed it up and actually had slight differences during the openers and closers. The opener and closer wouldn't be the same for every episode. And that's always cool.
Well, except for the Trigun release in the U.S. where they must have missed that when they were bringing it over. Because
Yeah,
they took the opener from the first episode and just used it on all the DVDs.
But the actual Trigun opener does change every episode in the Japanese release, but not in the U.S. release.
Yeah, well, only a little bit. It's not like...
It's not a big deal.
It ruined
The
Trigun.
Gazaraki one, you got to watch every opener.
Except they changed like 2 seconds of it.
I know,
every episode.
they're such assholes. But anyway, when you're watching a show where the actual show itself is like less than 5 minutes long, how do you justify watching like 3 minutes of opener and closer for each episode? That there's more opener and closer than there is episode.
Now, that was the Anime Club policy, to show the openers and closers. So we're showing Risky Safety, and after, 5 or so episodes, people are getting a little antsy because there's almost more opener closer than there is show, especially with the previews.
Yeah, you're watching the preview for the next time on the 5 minutes of Risky Safety you're going to watch.
But the thing is, we asked the club, like, should we skip it? And some people yelled, hell yes, good God. And other people were like, no, we want to see it. And it turned into this thing where people started yelling stuff out during the opener. It was like this mini cult meme for one night, and then it died, and that was the end of that.
Yeah. But anyway, the show we're talking about today,
Damekko Doubutsu.
Damekko Doubutsu, is, Emily taught me what it means. Damekko is like, dame, it's like,
Dame.
it basically means useless, like no good. And then Doubutsu is animals. So the show is the useless animals.
Doubutsu.
I like to call it the animals that suck, because this show is just...
Maybe I should read the description that I've got in front of me here, because it serves it best.
All right.
Each of these animals does not live up to the expectations and standards of his or her species.
Yeah, pretty much you have a wolf that is not ferocious. You have a unicorn that drinks sake and is womanizing.
You have a cheetah who can't run and trips over herself.
You got a nearsighted eagle. He's my
rabbit
favorite.
Who's an asshole. I love the rabbit because he's like,
rabbit.
Don't you make fun of me. I have all the traits common to my species. Solitary and untrusting.
Yeah, that rabbit really reminds me of that Cromartie High School. That's another short show, Cromartie. That Cromartie High School thing where it's like, if a rabbit is in a lion's den and it's not dead, that's some fucking rabbit. And that this rabbit is totally that, because he kicks all the other animals' asses.
But this is a show it's based on, there was a comic series from Manga Life back in like 2001 written by Noriko Kuwata, and it's basically just 5 minutes of these animals failing at life. Now, what makes it interesting, I mean, this is a kid show. It's on Kid Station. It's a kid's show. But the animals, they're not just animals. It's not like a cute anime animal rabbit who fights with the wolf or whatever. They're basically adults in like animal suits living in the woods.
Yeah,
so the wolf is
of
just this 21-year-old guy in a wolf suit, and the rabbit is this 26-year-old dude wearing a rabbit suit.
Yeah, it's not... It's sort of furry in that way, but really, if you watch the show, you'll realize it's not a furry. It's a cute comedy that just happens to have furry visuals.
I don't know. You seem to like, what's her name, the Panther Girl.
Oh, Panther Girl's hot, yo.
Yeah. I don't know. I like her a lot, but I also like the... you know what? I think all the members of the female feline club win.
Well, yeah, they're all good, but the Panther Girl's the best.
But the show opens with...
The Panther Girl reminds me a lot of the serious teacher from Azumanga Daioh.
Ah.
Yeah.
But Uruno is a wolf who sucks, and he's traveling with a bindle, and he's hungry, and he sees a rabbit and thinks, pray, good God, and he goes to try to eat the rabbit, and the rabbit kicks his ass. The rabbit's name, Usahara, rabbit's a jerk, and then from there we meet the rest of these people, and they just... I don't think I can express to you how much they suck.
They pretty much suck at everything. And it's basically the wolf is looking for a new home. He's got a bindle. He's on the road. He doesn't have a place to live. And he wasn't going to live in this forest with the shitty rabbit that he hated. And then the cheetah girl came along.
Chico.
Or leopard. Yeah, cheetah. She's a cheetah, right?
She's
Not
a
leopard.
cheetah.
Yeah, it's
a jackal. It's a jackal.
Then he falls in love with the clumsy cheetah at first sight, so he decides to live in this forest. But every animal in the forest is no good at what they're supposed to be good at. You got a whale who can't swim.
The whale has floaties.
The whale has a floaty, and it can't swim.
I think the favorite name of all these people, though, is Peganosuke, Pegasus.
The shy Pegasus.
The shy, emo, super depressed Pegasus.
Good God.
He's so great.
I figured the unicorn would be your guy, though.
See, I really like the unicorn, too, because there's really nothing wrong with him, except that he's just an asshole who lives in the woods kind of by himself.
I think the unicorn is the character closest to him.
Hey. Well, he is a womanizer. Oh, wait.
He's a womanizing, long-haired, Bishonen unicorn who drinks sake all the time.
The time.
But he's mad lazy.
I mean, what works is that Yunihiko, the unicorn, and Usahara, the rabbit, are both jerks. But they're jerks in different ways. The rabbit beats people up, and the unicorn just messes with people.
Yeah.
And the two of them usually, there's one good episode where the two of them are kind of hanging out, watching the wolf just suck. And they're basically just getting drunk and talking about how much he sucks while he's sucking.
Yeah. My favorite part with the unicorn and the rabbit is the rabbit, the unicorn goes up to the wolf and he's like, okay, the unicorn just met the wolf, right? Usahara. And he says, tell me, I will listen to your wish. And the wolf is like, oh man, the magical unicorn's going to grant me my wish. So he's like, I wish, he wishes for like Chico, right? Or something like that.
I forget what he wishes for. I know he wishes not to be a coward.
Yeah, he wants courage because that's what he sucks at. He's not a courageous wolf. He's a cowardly wolf. And the unicorn is like, well, try hard someday and you'll get there. And the wolf is like, oh, you really were just listening and not granting, you ass. So then the unicorn asks the rabbit what his wish is. And the rabbit's like, and he's like, I want your horn. He's like, what do you want my horn for? And the rabbit's like, my mom is sick, and your horn, if I grind it up, I can make medicine for my mom.
Now, then, the best part, he pulls out this other horn. He's like...
He pulls out this horn, and he tries to give it to the rabbit, and he's like, oh, here, I have something for you. He's like, really? He's like...
This is the horn of my former lover who died, blah, 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 tragedy. You can have it, but it's still a little cursed if you're okay with that.
And the rabbit's like, no, I don't want your cursed horn.
But then he's like,
I thought this was your spare horn.
It's just my spare horn. The first one fell off. Whatever.
Asshole. But yeah, the show's funny like that.
I think Scott's favorite character is still Takaoka, the eagle.
The eagle who has, bad vision is the best. Is my... I guess I don't like him in the way that I like the Panther girl, but he provides me the most humor because, he's not stupid and he's just sort of normal. But the only thing he sucks at is his nearsightedness. Otherwise, he's just sort of hanging out, being cool, being an eagle, But he'll dive into the water like he's gonna get a fish, and he'll be good at diving. And he'll go into the water and he'll come up with a straw man. It's like, what?
We got to make an animated GIF of that straw man for the forum.
We do have to use that for the forum.
Plus, don't forget the bear siblings.
Well, but they're from another town, so they don't suck.
I know, but it's great because Kumane, I love her when she shows up because her and the rabbit bond through muscles and fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the eagle, whenever something's going on, it's like he knows, a smart thing to do. He's sort of like, hey, wolf, let's team up on that rabbit and we can get him. Oh, yeah, and that's sort of like the smart, good idea. It's just, he's nearsighted, so it doesn't work.
I mean, I don't know what else we can say. If you like a lighthearted, cute, fairly clever, really short show.
You got 26 episodes of 5 minutes each. You could watch this whole thing in a couple hours and you'll be done with it forever. Well, unless you want to watch it again because it's cute.
Now, and you probably will be, because I keep watching the episodes again and again as we show them to people.
Yeah, the thing is on the Crunchyroll, so you can watch it there. There's also a torrent. If you can help me out with that, I think it's still going on my computer.
Yeah, and a lot of it's on the YouTube, so you can just get it there. Though watch out, because after a few episodes, the only thing left on YouTube are Russian subtitles or Spanish subtitles.
Yeah, Crunchyroll has the fully English subtitles.
As much as I dislike everything that Crunchyroll stands for, and ever will be,
they do have the episodes available for watching. So
yeah, but I mean, I guess if you like Azumanga Daioh, you'd probably like this show.
If you like Risky Safety, you'll probably like the show.
If you're human, I mean, it's not like, I'm not going to pretend. I mean, we might be talking like this is the best show ever.
This is not like high art. This is not like Akira Miyazaki level anime we're talking about here.
This is not the best anime in the world.
But it's a cute, funny show with good characters.
It is really cute, and I think it's really funny.
I think another thing that really makes it funny and cute is in most shows, characters are drawn seriously. And then when something silly happens, the characters will...
That's the best thing.
The characters will super deform. It's like, you're watching Slayers and everyone looks normal, and then, Leon Inverse gets hit over the head and
koala.
Suddenly... Yeah.
That's the best scene in all of Slayers.
Yeah, then she's all super deformed with the koala action.
But in this show,
everyone is super deformed, or at least relatively super deformed all the time, because it's a cute animal show. But then... what'll happen is they'll un-super deform.
They'll Bishonify.
Yeah, they'll get all serious and Bishonen, or all pretty and girly suddenly. They'll zoom in and their faces won't just be circles. Their faces will actually be sort of serious anime faces, and they'll be like, oh.
It's a good change of pace, is what I would say. I'd recommend anyone who's an anime fan, You have nothing to lose. It's 5 minutes long.
Yeah, if I was an anime club, what I would do is I would sort of show these maybe like, one or two per, anime club meeting, like maybe one at the beginning and then maybe one
No, I know exactly what I do.
in the middle of the showing. It sort of cleanses the anime palette.
After the anime music videos, I'd probably show one episode of this every week or whenever the anime club meets.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Just one episode.
It's a good way to cleanse the anime palette, especially if you just watch something bad, like say Aziza and Jotaro or something. Then you can watch one of these and be like, ah.
Of course, we did that, or we attempted to do something like that way back when Uruda came out, and we showed everyone the first episode of that, and they thought it was the hottest shit, partly just because it was different.
That was terrible.
Whoa, did that go downhill?
That was terrible. Oh my God.
I mean, there have been shows that went downhill before, but that show just, not that it started very high to begin with, but it went, like, you wouldn't think it could get worse. But
I mean, you did have crazy rocket launcher action, but that wasn't enough to make up for the CG worse than a PlayStation video game.
I mean, at least Initial D had PlayStation 1 graphics early on.
I know, and think about that. Initial D had better animation and graphics than Urda. Anyway.
All right, don't forget, Friday this week, 6 o'clock, Kinokuniya, New York City.
Yep.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.